What's up, YouTube? This is gonna be a quick instructional to replace the front struts on a 2006 Dodge Sprinter. This should work also for any years of the 10 model, 2001 to 2006. It's pretty easy, but I didn't see the video, so I'm gonna make one. Make sure that your front wheel is turned out, because one of the links there is going to be in your way if not. First thing you want to do is remove the plastic cover on the floor, and right here you will see that there will be a bolt. You're supposed to be able to use a 6mm Allen with a size 24mm wrench, but that didn't really work for me, so I basically just used an impact wrench, and it took it off no problem. So that's off first, and now you actually need to jack up the car and remove the wheel. So we're gonna do that. Here's the recommended jack point for the front. My van did not come with the OEM bottle jack, so I'm just going to use what I got. Before you jack it up all the way, you'll go ahead and want to take off your lug nuts. Okay, wheels off. So now, with the second jack, we have to raise the lower control arm about 10mm, it says, to relieve the tension on the strut. And then we're taking off 4 bolts on the steering knuckle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you get the ABS sensor line out of the way. I will disconnect that. Okay, it's disconnected, so now I will use my second jack and raise the lower control arm. So I raised it directly connecting that to the rotor, because when you disconnect, or when you unbolt the 4 bolts on the strut, it's actually what's holding up the whole wheel. So if you don't secure that, then when you remove the strut, the wheel will fall. You may damage your brake lines. So this is definitely required to hold this in place while you remove this. Alright, so here is that ABS line that's disconnected. So now I'm gonna remove these 2 bolts. 19mm sockets, by the way. So the sway bar linkage is still sort of in the way here. You could probably use a smaller driver, so I'm going to switch to a 3/8. Okay, those 2 bolts are now removed, so now we'll start on the other side. Okay, so got that bad boy out, and as you can see, this wheel will go anywhere. Looking back, I would have definitely removed the bottom ones first and then the top ones, but it still worked out. So now we get the new shock. Here's this new strut that I'm replacing it. These are Coney 87 2638s. These are adjustable. I adjusted mine to about 70% firmness. I read some reports online that if you set it maximum firmness, it may reduce the life of the shock. You can find that process if you YouTube, adjusting Coney shocks. Basically, you have to press this in, rotate it about a quarter clockwise or counterclockwise, and then it'll lock in the adjustment mechanism, which you can then rotate this again clockwise, makes it more firm, counterclockwise, less firm. So out of about 5 revolutions for the adjustment, I went counterclockwise about 2 revolutions, which is about 70%. So we'll remove this little rubber boot thing, as well as the old dust cover, and we'll put those on there. There's with the dust cover and the little boot attached. And now we just kind of do everything in reverse. We attach the strut to the steering knuckle, and then we'll go from there. So when you've bolted down the new strut to the steering knuckle, you definitely want to tighten it to where it's very snug, but you want to leave the final torque adjustment till everything is back on and back on the ground. The service manual says that the bolts need to be torqued down to 138 foot-pounds. Make sure you reconnect your ABS line. You can just manually push this rod up so it goes back to where it needs to be. And we're back on the inside, and here's that. You put that cover back on and get your new bolt. New bolt. Screw that in as tight as you can. And that's a size 24mm bolt. And a 6mm Allen wrench on the inside. In order to really tighten it down, you're going to need that. Okay, have the strut installed on top and bottom. So now we remove that second jack and put the wheel back on. The jack I used to jack up the van actually isn't big enough, so I actually need to still use my second jack to jack up the control arm. That way I can reattach the wheel. So here's a little trick I learned. Now that the wheel hub is now higher than my tire, kind of use this cross thing as a leverage, a little lever to lift it up, and it makes it easier to install by yourself. Okay, wheels reattached, and time to lower the ring. Alright, got my torque wrench, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's set to 138. So I'm going to go ahead and torque down all 8 of my strut bolts on both sides. Okay, got all the strut bolts torqued to 138 foot-pounds, and so now I actually need to run to the store because I broke my 6mm Allen wrench, and I need to actually torque it down to 74 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna run to the store and get that tool. Okay, luckily the new Coney strut required a number 8 Allen wrench, which I do have. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque that down to 74 foot-pounds. Okay, I'm actually running into the same issue I had when I was trying to remove it, where this literally is not strong enough to apply the amount of torque. So I think that's good enough. I mean, it traveled, you know, a good 12 threads. I think it's good, so I'm just gonna move on to the other one. And don't forget to put your plastic cover back on. The driver's side one is a bit weirder. You have all that stuff in the way. You gotta pull that plastic mat out, so just be aware. And gonna go ahead and torque that one down to 74 as much as possible. Alright, that's torqued down. And just put your plastic cover back over. You're good to go. No alignment, no adjustments needed for the front. Just really plug and play. Super easy. My experience has been that dealerships or mechanics will charge you about 50% to almost double what the part will cost, and then, you know, $150 an hour. So definitely saved quite a bit doing this myself. So I encourage you to do the same. Y'all have a good day.